This is Christian Questions.
Victor Hugo once said, "There is one thing stronger than all the armies in the world, and that's an idea whose time has come." And Jonathan, what is it that we are discussing this morning?
Well, Rick, our question this morning is, should it be Israel or Palestine? And our theme text is found in Genesis chapter 13, verses 14 and 15. And the Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, "Lift your eyes now and look from the place where you are, northward, southward, eastward, and westward. For all the land which you see I give to you and your descendants forever."
All right, and we have with us this morning Ken Rawson, our special guest, talking about the situation in the Middle East and looking at things from a variety of perspectives. And also, folks, if you are really, really interested in this particular subject, the difficulties and the challenges in Israel, whose land is it, who are the Palestinians, who has rights to what, we will offer to you today, and you can go to our website to request this, a couple of CDs or DVDs that we have available through Ken. One is the Israel-Arab Peace Process, and the other is called Israel's Land Rights. And some very, very interesting factual information on those DVDs that might help you in terms of putting things into a perspective. So, Ken, we've been talking, just to sum up the first hour, we looked at prophecy a little bit, we looked at history, and we looked at the legality of the situation. And in all three counts, Israel does in fact have rights to be where they are. You had mentioned that you wanted to go through a few quotes in terms of looking at the land of Israel, going back to the 17th and 18th centuries as to the conditions of the land.
Yes. Now remember, when the Jewish polity was destroyed between AD 70 and 135, 4 to 7 million Jews lived in the land, according to historians. Now, there's no such thing as from 638, when the Arab temporarily conquered the Holy Land, that the land just swelled with hundreds of thousands of Arabs that lived over the centuries. I'm going to make some quotes now from travelers, noted travelers. In 1738, Thomas Shaw observed the land, quote, of barrenness from want of inhabitants. In 1785, Constantine de Volnay recorded the population of three main cities: Jerusalem, 12,000 only; Bethlehem, 600 men; Hebron, 800 men. In 1835, Alphonse Lamartine wrote, "Outside the city of Jerusalem we saw no living object, heard no living sound. A complete eternal silence reigns in the town, in the highways, in the country, the tomb of a whole people." In 1857, the British, now this is the British consul in Palestine, James Finn, reported, quote, "The country is in a considerable degree empty of inhabitants, and therefore its greatest need is a body of population." Now, this is thrilling from two standpoints. It proves that there were very few people living in the land of Palestine, few Arabs, and the land was in need of a body of population, and this was about the time that the Bible prophesied the Jews would return to their promised land. At the time, it was in need of a body of population. Now, Mark Twain, who, of course, is a very popular American novelist, in his book, The Innocents Abroad, he said, quote, "Palestine sits in sackcloth and ashes. Over it broods the spell of a curse that has withered its fields and fettered its energies. Palestine is desolate and unlovely. It is a hopeless, dreary, heartbroken land," unquote. How can the Arabs say that Palestine was flourishing at this time with a large number of Arabs?
All right. And that, again, some good historical perspective on that. And we really do want to get to the issue, okay, what about right now? But let's go to the phone first. We have John from Rhode Island on the line. Or Jim from Rhode Island on the line.
Welcome to Christian Questions, Jim. You're on the air.
Hey, I just want to commend your guest on his incredible knowledge of the true history of what was going on there. I woke up this morning thinking I was in a dream because the radio was on, and I was sitting around at a so-called conference on Jewish history. Well, it was your show coming on, and I listened to this for quite a while, maybe a half an hour before I really woke up. Then I started listening, and I wanted the information. This stuff has got to get out, and the population has got to know what's going on here. In so many areas, this is true, as we all know. But going back to what you said earlier about the Syrian government not even acknowledging them, those kinds of things have got to get out. So I've got your website there, so I can find out. Is there a book that I could read, or that your listeners could read?
I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. There's a book called The Israeli-Arab Peace Process and Bible Prophecy, and send us your address, and we'll send it to us on the website, and we will send you a copy of the book.
God bless you. Thanks.
Okay. All right, Jim, thanks so much for calling.
Hey, you guys are great. Keep it up, and let's bridge the gap between the Jews and the Christians.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, so, Ken, now let's get down to the brass tacks. Let's look at today. You've firmly established from a historical perspective, and as Jim said, a perspective that a lot of people just don't hear about. These are things that nobody thinks about in terms of looking at the present problem. The problem that we have today is a clash of politics, and it's a clash of ideologies. What do we do with that in this tiny little sliver of land of Israel? And again, I'm fragmented a little bit here. 12 million square miles, and you have, what 2% of the land is being fought over out of these 1,200 square. It blows my mind. Side question, Ken, is there a lot of oil in Israel?